Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good evening. And thanks for tuning into our Perseverance Theater virtual space for our community conversation, Silver Linings Created Out of COVID. I'm Leslie Ishii, the Artistic Director at Perseverance Theater, and I go by she, her pronouns. And I am grateful to say that I am streaming in from Tlingit Ani of the Occoquan peoples, and Tlingit Ani is also known as Douglas and Juneau, Alaska. We also recognize and honor the Takaquan peoples, our neighbors just to the south. This is also an opportunity right from the start to share our gratitude for the Juneau Arts and Humanities Council who made this evening possible. This is a conversation in connection with our productions, A Tlingit Christmas Carol, which you may have already started taking in each chapter that drops every Friday on our Facebook page with Perseverance Theater or our YouTube, Perseverance Theater YouTube link. And we'll drop another one this Friday and on Christmas. And then it will certainly play after that through January 7th through Russian Orthodox Christmas. So I hope you'll join us for that. So with those two shows, we take a look at community coming together when we're all struggling and how timely these shows are during this COVID pandemic. So Lily Odekirk, my esteemed colleague here, who you'll meet in just a moment, we basically thought we need to have a community conversation as we navigate this COVID pandemic and get to learn how is our community navigating? How are they doing? How are they finding joy? How are they finding resilience? What's been difficult? And so with that, we are so honored that we will be able to have some guests that are throughout our community, throughout the Juneau Douglas, our city and our borough. And we're looking forward to this conversation. We'll also have esteemed guests from UAS that are researching COVID and looking forward to their reflections and their research. So with that, it's my great honor and pleasure to pass the baton to Lily Odekirk, who's been our arts education program coordinator, but is also a wonderful artist in her own right. So with that, please give a warm virtual welcome to Lily Odekirk.
Thank you so much, Leslie. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. As Leslie said, my name is Lily, and I am streaming in tonight from my parents' home in West Virginia, which is the traditional lands of the Cherokee, Shawnee, and Adena peoples. And I've been humbled also to make my home as a guest on Tlingit Occoquan territory for the last several years. As Leslie mentioned, we're so excited to be here tonight in community with 7 incredible guests, as well as the UAS research team, COVID research team, and also to be here in community with all of you. We will be asking our guests questions, and we encourage you all in the audience to engage as well in the Facebook chat, either answering the questions yourself or posing new questions. We're really looking forward to this evening. So I'll pass it back to Leslie now.
Thank you, Lily. Wonderful. Well, now it is my great honor and pleasure to bring on our first guest who will also be joining the conversation. But I have the opportunity to offer a bit of an introduction of Dr. Rosita Wuerl, whose Tlingit name is Tahani. And Dr. Wuerl, or Tahani, is and serves as the president of Sea Alaska Heritage Institute, a nonprofit dedicated to perpetuating and enhancing Tlingit, Haida, and Tsimshian cultures of Southeast Alaska. She's an anthropologist and for many years served as assistant professor of anthropology at University of Alaska Southeast. She also has a PhD and an MS in anthropology from Harvard University and a BA from Alaska Methodist University. She holds an honorary Doctor of Sciences degree from the University of Alaska Anchorage, and Dr. Wuerl has also received many honors and works with several different Native organizations. She's also an accomplished and a popular lecturer and author. So with that, please join me in welcoming Dr. Rosita Wuerl to our virtual space, and thank you for offering our wonderful land acknowledgement this evening.
Gunashish, Leslie. Gunashish, Lily. Gunashish, Anyat Kusani. Thank you, most noble people of the land. Goodness Chish Akwan, for welcoming us to your homeland. Goodness Chish Taku Kwan, whose ancestral homeland surrounded the Taku River and the southern areas of Douglas, and which today is part of the greater city and borough of Juneau. You welcomed us, who came from other areas outside of Southeast Alaska and beyond. You allowed us to settle here and to make this our homeland as well. For that, we are grateful. For this is a land of beauty and bounty. However, it is also our duty to always acknowledge that this is your Aboriginal homeland, Akwan, Takukwan, Gwenochi Shanyat Kusani. Thank you, my dear brothers and sisters.
Ganashish, Dr. Worrell, thank you. Takani, for that beautiful land acknowledgement. Yes, we honor the Akukwan and Takukwan peoples. Thank you here at Perseverance Theater. Beautiful.
Nachish.
With that, Lily, can I pass the baton to you next?
Absolutely. Yes, thank you so much. We are now going to welcome the rest of our guests to the stage. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining.
How's it going?
Hello. Hello. Thank you all so much for being here. To start, we would love to invite you all to introduce yourselves, share who you are.
So I guess I'm supposed to go next. My name is Bob Urata. I'm a retired family physician. I've been in Juneau since 1984, practicing family medicine, and retired in June. I was born and raised in Wrangell, so consider myself an Alaskan, although my basketball skills has dropped immensely.
Great. Thank you so much, Bob. Maria.
Hi, my name is Maria Bailey. I am co-owner and creator of the Northern Tea House and Tea Alley, alongside with my husband, Ivan. We offering our tea house experience to the community. We started the tea house in the winter of 2014. We've lived here in Juneau since 1994, so we've been here for quite a while. And I am happy to be here.
We're happy you're here. Thank you.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Kristen Garreau. I am an educator here in Juneau. I've been a teacher, and now I'm a principal of Kuskadakahiti High School, Montessori Borealis Public School, and Homebridge, which is our district's homeschool correspondence program. And I'm happy to be with you all.
Welcome.
Gail, will you share next?
Hi, my name is Yale Cristobal. I'm 17 years old and go to Juneau Douglas High School as a junior. Nothing too much about me really. I live here obviously, and I'm happy to be here right now.
Great. Thank you so much. Hi, Jordan.
Hi. Am I able to do my complete introduction?
Please.
Shia awo dinehi, anya kusani, ganchish achuni yan hati adi. Hunach yak yi yet achsich gini, yak ade hati dachuni yi, klingit kenach, kak desha yu kat duasak. Guski kwan kenach, Jordan Bennett yu kat duasak. Kik Sarina Khatsati, Deshi Tanyadich Khatsati, Byron Jack Yuduasak Ach Ish, Hoots Namu Khwansati, Achlichu has nanya ai ka wasani city. Gagan hit dach ayachet. Chach kana ak kwandach. Gnachtish ache yisa achi.
Gunnachish.
Gnachtish. I'm Jordan, 15 years old, and I go to Juneau Douglas High, and I'm really glad to be here.
Welcome, Jordan.
Heck yeah. And my name is Chris Talley, also known as Radiophonic Oddity. I'm a local artist, rapper, and just general entrepreneur in Juneau, Alaska, born and raised. And I'm also, like everybody, excited to be here.
Beautiful. Welcome, Chris.
Great. Well, thank you all. We wanted to start off by just asking, how are you right now at the end, as we're approaching the end of 2020? Wild year.
Well, we'll start with the oldest.
Okay.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for asking. Thank you so much for asking that question. I am very fortunate to be doing absolutely fine. I am happy and I am healthy. Gunnachish.
Goodness, geez. Wonderful. Oh, Bob, we can't quite hear you.
I'm doing well as well, and so far so good.
Are you enjoying retired life?
It's an adjustment, and I miss my work. But I was getting too old for it anyway, so it's time to move on and see what life has in store. But it's going great. I'm enjoying it.
Great.
Hi,
Maria, how about you?
Thank you for asking. Yeah, I'm doing actually really great. At the beginning, it was different, for sure, and I had to do a lot of self-care during all of those months, to kind of take care of myself and to just to keep my mental health strong. But I'm healthy, my family's healthy, and pretty much everyone I know is doing well. And I'm very positive about things.
Beautiful.
I am here, and it's 2 more days until winter break for school. It's been like a mad dash. I can't believe it's already December. And we're going to be hopefully welcoming students in January back more than we have been, which is really great. But it's been a long haul since March, but we're moving forward.
Beautiful.
Hi, I'm doing
Gail
pretty
and
good.
Jordan, as our
It's definitely been a change this year, but I'm getting used to it and still kind of getting used to the change. But I'm excited to see what next year has to offer.
Beautiful.
I honestly can't wait what next year will bring too. I guess I'm doing really great. I'm honored to be here.
And I am doing fantastic. Thank you so much for asking. It's been a crazy year, but honestly, like a few people are saying, I'm ready for next year. If I'm being honest, I'm just ready to get this year over with.
A lot of folks are with you on that, Chris.
Yeah, really.
Can I ask a question to the young ones?
Sure, please.
Yeah. So how is it? How do you like doing this distant learning for school? Do you like it, or do you miss like being in the classroom and walking the hallways and meeting up with your friends?
Jordan, do you have a thought? I feel like you might be leaning in a little.
Yeah, I was just wondering who's going to go first, but distant learning is actually okay with me, but I actually do miss school. I would like walk around through the halls and say hi to my friends before my next class, and we would like laugh, have good times, especially during classes. I mean, I still do have good grades, and honestly, I can't wait to go back to school in January.
Great, thank you for that.
I also kind of agree with Jordan that I've had my ups and downs with this whole learning, new kind of learning. I very much do miss going to school, interacting with people, and doing like the work over there because that's just how I learn. But I've had my ups and downs, and I am getting used to this whole online Zooming.
Yeah.
Thank you both. Kristen, as a principal, I'm curious for you as well, what the challenges have been.
What the challenges have not been is like a shorter answer, probably. I think, one of the questions that you had posed to us was something that we learned from our community and were inspired by, those kind of two questions. And one of the things that I have been really inspired by and learned from is watching my colleagues, teachers, staff in my buildings flip what they were doing practically overnight to support students who could no longer come to the building but continue learning with them and help them. And just being a part of that process was draining, but also really sort of exciting. And figuring out new ways to do things, I like a challenge, and that was certainly a challenge. But it has been something that has, I think, helped us also grow and get better at some of the things that we do. So it's been a positive thing in that way. But I'm super excited to see more kids in the building. We've had a few kids coming in here and there for different things. And so it's just, I'm excited to see more kids in the building, see their faces, see their parents, say hi, we miss them.
I bet you all feel like, oh, maybe when we go back, we won't take for granted that ability to see people in person, see your friends on a daily basis, Yeah, I see Jordan, you're nodding. Yeah. It was just daily life before, but now we have a lot more appreciation for it, yeah?
Yeah, building on that, I'm curious what moments throughout this period of time, what moments of joy have you all found that maybe were unexpected?
I would say the community, how the community has come together, and how so my customers, they come in and they check in on me. They're not there to like purchase anything or anything. I get phone calls, I get emails, I get text messages, and they just want to see how I'm doing, and that just makes me really happy and loved, and I truly appreciate the people that are in my life. And I'm getting a little emotional, so I'm gonna.
That's okay. Well, I have to say it, Maria, just having been to your tea shop, the kind of care you take with your customers, like you helped me pick a tea out very specially for a friend that I wanted to send to in the lower 48 and another relative. And the care you took in learning a little bit about them and what that tea the right team might be. It doesn't surprise me that that's reflected back to you in how the community cares about you as well, you know? Yeah, it's a really beautiful experience coming to your shop. I'm glad you're
Thank you.
still there. Was there ever a moment when you were worried?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. At the very beginning, first you don't know because you've never gone through anything like this before. So you don't really know what to expect. And you're thinking, okay, we have to close up. And okay, it might be for a couple of days and this will all blow over. And so, and then, a week passes and then a month passes and then 2 months pass. And you're like, okay, well, what are we going to do? And that is the time when we started, like, kind of reevaluating things and seeing what we could do to protect, our staff, our customers, our family, and but still continue to have the tea house feel. And where it is warm and where it is welcoming, instead of, like, running to people's windows in their cars. So yeah, it was very scary. We didn't know exactly what we were doing, but we did it, and we were able to pivot, and there was so much support from other small businesses. We all kind of, we were all communicating with one another, and it's like, well, what are you doing? Well, we're doing this, and that's a great idea. And how about doing that? So, I mean, we weren't in it alone, to say the least. So we're still are, we're supporting each other. And it is a beautiful thing.
That's fantastic to learn. I didn't realize you were connecting that way to help.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. I just, Lily, I want to go to Dr. Rosita Takani. We keep using this word pivot. We have to pivot, make those changes. Kristen, you said, oh, overnight, you watch your teachers pivot, you make those changes and be really creative. How is Sealaska Heritage Institute doing? I know you had a recent moment with the assembly, but even before that, were you that moment of, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? I know you have your beautiful shop and all the ways that you're in community.
Exactly. Well, the pandemic brought everything to a screeching halt. Yeah. And, we had to stop, think, and then we at Sealaska Heritage had to think, what is our responsibility? And we have responsibilities to our community, to our students, to our constituents. And so, we decided that immediately, and I have to say almost immediately, we just said, we are going to continue to provide our services. And we immediately, I could say immediately now, but I think we had a little stops and wondering what do we do, but we were successful in transforming our in-person programming and services to virtual programming. And it was really great to see. I mean, it was, I thought it was going to be a down, but instead there were some really good things that came from it. And it really, we had to maximize our time, efficient use of time. But the exciting thing was that we reached people across the country, and we reached tribal members, whether they were in Africa, Europe, Asia. I don't know if you had an opportunity to see our virtual celebration. We have a biannual celebration where every year we have 6,000 people who come for 5 days of celebrating our culture. But we managed to do the same on this virtual celebration. And the first day, when we first went on, our IT people, our media people said that the lights went up all over the globe. We had people watching, from all over. So part of our mission is also promoting cross-cultural understanding. We think we have a great culture, and we want to share our culture. And so we were excited, in being able to have our juried art show. We also added some new events like storytelling. And so we're building off of that. And now we're going to have We're going to add storytelling as something that we do during, the summer months. So it was really a learning lesson. But I think the greatest thing was when from tragedy comes good things. And you know that we lost our clan leader. Excuse me. We lost our clan leader. And we have ceremonies that bring us together after the passing. And this was a great man, David Katzik, clan leader, uh, teacher, educator, orator. He was just great in everything. And we decided we needed to have a ceremony. And we also wanted to have a safe ceremony because we found out, that elsewhere in rural Alaska are people who have these cultural events. We're continuing to have cultural events, and it wasn't safe. And we saw that in the numbers that were increasing, with the virus. So we decided we have to do something and do it safe. So we brought together our clan leaders, and they decided how we could do this cultural ceremony in a virtual setting. And again, it was I think the benefit not only for us, but in terms of people who sign in to see our cultural traditions and learn how from death, it could bring us together. So that was, I think one of the most exhilarating times for me was to have that event.
Goodness, thank you. And sending our condolences and sympathies. It's a great loss, but but also we know it's a natural way of life to have that circle. And as you say, is it when someone walks into the woods,
Yeah.
the forest? Yes. Wow. Oh, I appreciate you sharing that. That's very powerful. Yes, I was going to come to you next, Bob.
Yeah, I'd like to share from the medical point of view, the adaptations that had to be done at our clinic, and also in the hospital. Not only getting a lot of protective equipment, but also we had to switch to phone visits initially, and because we didn't want to have people come in and wait in the waiting room, and then we did car visits on people who were sick, and we did COVID testing in the car with practitioners or going out and checking people wearing all the PPEs with the shields, the masks, and the gowns and such. And then, and I think some people would change clothes. In our clinic, we have a shower so that we could do that there as well before going home, because you don't want to take the COVID to your home. And so those were big adjustments. And of course, now most of the visits, or many of the visits now, are still online through new software and stuff designed to do that and to protect people's privacies. And so far so good. At least in Juneau, we haven't had big problems with COVID among the healthcare workers, although it can crop up at any time. We understand that. So we cannot let our guard down. I think one of the things that really has inspired me through all of this is that the leadership in Juneau still believes in science and some of the public health principles to prevent a pandemic spreading in our community. And I've been very happy to see that. And I think as a result of people's adaptation, wearing masks, and trying to avoid big crowds has really helped out. And so we're lucky in our community. And I think because these measures do help, I think that provides us hope until we can get the vaccine. And lo and behold, today we've gotten some of the first vaccines were given, although there was a side effect, but you're always going to have a very tiny number of people with side effects. And you just have to have the medicines to counteract those reactions. And that was done. And so we're still doing things the right way, and we should be proud.
I don't think I see, I mean, it's rare I see someone that's not wearing a mask here. I feel like our community really gets that. So that's really contributing to, like you said, Bob, us not having a major spread, or, we've unfortunately had some loss, and certainly people have contracted it, but not in the big numbers that other communities have experienced.
I wonder if I could just say one more thing. The thing that really has helped me through all of this and helped the change is I'm reminded of the serenity prayer. And, that is grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, and the courage to change the things that I can. And of course, the wisdom to know the difference. And I think about that going through all of this, and it's helped me, and I hope that it can help others.
Thank you. That means a lot coming from you. You've been right on the front line, especially right near the beginning when it was the scariest. It still remains, like you said, we have to be vigilant, but that means a lot coming from you. Thank you. Yes. What do you think, Lily? Should we actually ask how the artists in our community are doing?
Sure. Yeah. And before, listening to Rosita talk about celebration, and I'm curious to move to Chris and ask Chris, as an artist, as a musical artist and a theater artist, how has COVID and transitioning to more of a virtual platform where maybe you can reach a larger audience, how has that affected your creation process?
Well, honestly, wow. Well, for me, it's the performing. Like I'm really used to like getting hit up a lot and people being like, "Can you perform here? Can you do this? Can you do that?" And I'm still getting it like with this, like with Zoom and like this StreamYard, all this kind of like streaming and whatnot. And so it's been affected because I really miss like actually interacting with people. I guess it's kind of hit. My brain has kind of hit a little snag when it comes to like creating, because I'm not getting like all the ideas from people. I'm not seeing everybody every day, so I'm not like generating like new ideas. It's like I still can, but it's just like kind of a different format. It's weird. It's weird, but I think I'm making the transition okay. It's getting a lot easier to reach other artists, because they're stuck at home and everything too. Like yeah, honestly, it's kind of crazy. I miss theater.
Yeah, I know you were in our Fun Home production, and we had to go right at that moment of
legitimately. I saw that coming, but I didn't expect it to be for this long. Like we started. When did we shut down Fun Home again?
It was right in March, right at the top of that.
Yeah.
COVID, when we learned about COVID. Yeah.
Exactly. So it was insane. I was like, wow. Okay. Well, I guess this is a thing.
I'm seeing a comment, Lily. One of our folks that must be tuning in says, "Seeing the way artists have bloomed in so many ways during this heartens me. The human spirit is so amazing, and art expresses that powerfully." Yes, I know we have a few more minutes with each of you, but it occurs to me, if it's okay with you, Lily, and Dr. Rosita Rural Takhani, you inspired me to think of this question. For each of you, maybe there's a part of your culture or your traditions that the wisdom of our ancestors or elders, is there something about that you've drawn on during this time to bring you through, help you find joy, or just help you stay strong even, or help you stay resilient, kind of keep at it, get back up the next day and keep at it? Anything from your culture, your traditions, your elders, or your ancestors that inspires you or keeps you going?
Well, I guess I would have to say it's not only within our culture that I saw this. I mean, we are a group-based society. We come from clans, and we've been through tragedy before. We've been through pandemics before, and we've learned how we have to support each other, how we have to help each other. We have stories about, the pandemic that hit up in my home country, the Chilkat area, and where our sick people crawled away from the village so as not to infect, other people in the village. They were concerned about the family. And but what made me happy as a human being was to see how our community came together, our community and our organizations. And I have to acknowledge, even though we might not always like our government and things that they've been doing, but they did come together. They came. I mean, I'm so happy about CBJ and the support that they have given to our community, to our business community, to our artists. I've seen the money where they're helping to pay for the rent. So to me, it was that community and that connection as humanity. And you'd see on the radio, on the TV, horrible things that were happening, but yet at the same time you would see our first responders, our health people taking care, even though it jeopardized their life, they were still there taking care of those in need. And so I think if anything that I have learned from this pandemic is a great appreciation for us as a people, that we can come together, that we can survive. And that's something we've learned from our culture. But I was also happy to see it. It isn't just unique to the Tlingit people, but it's unique to humanity. So that was the inspiration for me.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you for that.
For me, it was, I knowing and having gone through other epidemics and seeing how this country has overcome each one. And in the past, it was tuberculosis, and people did research, figured it out, and did public health measures, though not in the fashion that we would have liked that to be. And then I remember intimately AIDS and how scary that was when that first came out, and when that started spreading through various populations, and how we figured out how to fix it, how to treat it, and put it where it belongs. We haven't eliminated it, but we have made great strides. And I feel with COVID, it'll be the same thing, but COVID is a different threat. And so we have to adapt and change. So in any event, at least in this country, we have hope that a cure will be found. And that has helped me through this as well.
Beautiful. Thank you, Bob. Anybody else like to share?
I would like to.
Great. Thank you, Jordan.
As our culture, I'm honestly Tlingit, Hawaiian, and Tsimshian. And my teacher is actually my uncle, and he's been teaching me Tlingit. And I'm honored that he's been teaching me. It honestly strengthens me throughout this pandemic, is that we're social distancing, and we're actually doing great. My classmates have been doing good, and may I say what my joy is? My joy is that I get to go to Friday night church. It's this church I go to. It happens every Friday night for teens from middle school up to high school. It is at Glacier Valley Church of God. And what we do is that we actually do social give me more social distance. Sorry about that. I'm actually one of the praise teams, and we get to sing, practice, and actually enjoy our time together. With most of my friends that are there, they're Tlingit, Haida, Tsimshian, all the other cultures that are from here, which some may not know what their culture is, but I'm honestly happy that I'm being surrounded by family, because no matter where I go, I'm actually surrounded by family.
Oh, goodness, huge.
So
thank you, Jordan. Beautiful. I see you leaning in, Kristen. Is that something you'd like to share?
I saw Chris Talley leaning in, but so he should take it over after me. But I think I would echo some of the things that Jordan just said in terms of being able to do some of the things that for many months I didn't have the brain power to put to it, but kind of as as I get some more air space to breathe and things are, the end of the vaccine end of the tunnel is like such an amazing thing to see. And playing music, which I've been able to do recently with some friends in a COVID safe way, has been a really joyful thing. So
Beautiful.
that's been great.
Thank you.
And excuse me, so sorry. And for me, I would honestly like to say just seeing everybody kind of come together, and help other people out. That's just really bringing me a lot of joy. And especially after the death of George Floyd and everything, I've just been seeing a wild variety of people in the streets, like, still defending, still like going after black rights and everything. Mm-hmm. And it just makes me feel really good about like the culture that I'm in, including like Alaska's culture and everything. And honestly, I'm just really proud of everybody right now who's actually doing their part to do something about, the racial injustice that we face in society today.
Beautiful, Chris. Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yale, did you think of something you'd like to share?
I have other things, and there are things that I have learned throughout this whole time and things I'm grateful for. And that was that how much I actually care about others and my friends through this whole thing. Like before the whole pandemic, I did care about them a lot, but throughout, I have gotten much closer with them and seen more of them struggles and help them through that. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the biggest things I've learned throughout this and have grown with. Oh, hi, cat.
I love that. Your cat just came on. Beautiful. Oh, Yale, that's beautiful. Yes. And Maria, anything you'd like to share?
So I'm Black and Filipino, and we're all about family, and we think about our ancestors all the time, and it's all about drawing the energy. And I have the saying that I'd like to say a lot is that because of them, I am. And that is what makes me strong. And that's what, gets me through life. If they can do it, I can do it. I stand on their shoulders. And then I continue to lead and so others can follow behind. So, yeah.
Beautiful, Maria. Thank you so much for sharing. So with that, Lily, I pass the baton to you.
Thank you all so much for being here with us tonight in community. It's really so wonderful to hear from you. So thank you for sharing and being here. As we wrap up this portion of the evening, we want to transition with a song. We feel really, really lucky that Chris Talley, who's a brilliant musician, has written and recorded a new Christmas song. So Chris, would you introduce this, and then that'll take us out, and we'll play it for us.
Absolutely. Well, this song is called Clinket Sky because, Alaskan born and raised, I got to represent my home city, hometown, home state. So I just decided to write this for everybody, and I really hope that people like it because, it's kind of like the first song that not like the first song, but it's something I'm really proud of, that I wrote myself, produced myself, and just, did myself by myself. Also with the help of my with my engineer and everything, Justin Miller.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait for everyone to hear it. So
yeah.
Thank you, Chris. And thank you to our guests that were joining us from the community. Oh my goodness, Dr. Will, Dr. Urata, Kristen, Garot, and of course you, Chris, and Yale, and Jordan, and Maria. Wow, what an incredible group. We had business owner to running an organization, someone from the front line of the medical community, as well as our students, and Kristen with our schools. And you, Chris, as a musician. So, Gunashish Indoyaksin Hawa, thank you for this portion of the program. And we'll look forward to welcoming our UAL UAS researchers next after this. And also stay tuned. We have a quick appearance, a little guest appearance from Ben Brown, our staff member, as well as a wonderful artist himself. So thank you, Chris. We're so happy to have your talents with us as well as you.
Thank you for sharing.
And at the end, what is it? It's Sagu Kiswis.
Yes.
Yeah, Sagu Kiswis, Chris.
All right. Yo, what's good? It's your boy Chris Talley, also known as Radiophonic Oddity or RPO. And yo, I just wanted to say happy holidays to everybody, no matter what holiday you're celebrating. Make sure to spread love and give cheer this year because we really need it. So I hope you enjoy this song called Clinking Sky. Alright.
Chilling in the clinking sky, watching aurora lights. It's a holiday time. Ready for the snowball fights. You know we are gonna have a good night. Yeah. The wind blows so cold, I'm a passing snow cones, chill bones, cocoa, heated up by I roll. Wind be so crisp, stockings and I got gifts. Mr. Father Christmas in my onion ice list. It's time for a holiday. Can we celebrate? Candy canes, happy days by the fireplace. Merry Christmas, happy Kwanzaa too. And if you ain't with the season, just leave, Mr. Scrooge. Let's go sledding, snowfall is heavy. I'm mistletoe kiss only if you let me. Santa is coming, man, I caught him today. We vibing, we're riding in his open sleigh. The Taku winds just blow so hard. Someone better send me a Christmas card. Happy holidays, spread love and trust. We under clinking sky, so chillin' in the clinking sky. Watching aurora lights, it's a holiday time. Ready for the snowball fights. You know we are gonna have a good night. Yeah. Hide inside, so I stay real dry. Finding ways to make time go by. Promiseless, no evil eyes. I don't mind who's by my side. Instead of na-na-na, singing fa-la-la. And yo, I can't forget about Hanukkah. Nice shining bright, and yo, I feel alright. I got my decorations and Christmas lights. My fam by my side, nothing more can compare. And the friends that I have aren't aware that they're rare. And I care that you got me, I got you too. Even if we don't talk, I'll still care about you. Cause love's a gift, so please keep giving. Life is hard, so please keep living. Happy holidays, spread love and trust. We under clinking sky, so sit chillin' in the clinking sky. Watching aurora lights, it's a holiday time. Ready for the snowball fights. You know we are gonna have a good night. Yeah. Watching aurora lights, it's a holiday time. Ready for the snowball fights.
Oh my gosh, I'm still grooving on that tune. That is so good. Well, everyone, it is my great honor to welcome you, Ben Brown, our Director of Development, but also we know you have graced our Perseverance Theater stage many a time. So as a wonderful and esteemed artist, thank you for being with us, Ben.
Well, it's great to be here. And one of my favorite shows I've ever done was with Chris Talley, Raisin in the Sun. We got to do that here and up in Anchorage, and he's a fabulous singer, actor, community member, arts leader. So it's just so great to see him having blossomed into such a great role. But that was a really wonderful show, among many that I've had the privilege to do at good old Perseverance. Yeah.
Wonderful. Yes.
So in addition to, I think, everything that's been said thus far, and I think Chris just really hit upon it, and so many of the panelists did, talking about how they were surviving and how being in touch with the community was a way that they survived. One of the ways they coped, and supporting the arts and making sure we all come together and make sure that it's sustainable is a part of that. And as I think a lot of folks know, because they've been reading the news, we've been very fortunate with support from the government through this crisis thus far, locally, at the state level, and at the federal level. I mean, there have been some resources brought to bear. certainly nationally, there's a lot of performing arts companies that are not as lucky as Perseverance is, not as lucky as Alaska is. And so we need to make sure that we are advocating for meaningful relief at the federal level. And Leslie, you've been working very closely on that, and it's a very finely tuned thing at this point.
Yeah.
But I think there's a chance there's going to be something that could help Perseverance and theaters like us. But I guess what I want to get back to is the most important way theaters like Perseverance and all the arts organizations we have in Juneau, the Juneau Arts Humanities Council, the Juneau Symphony Orchestra, Juneau Lyric Opera, Rosita's organization, Sea Alaska Heritage Institute, all of these arts and culture organizations rely on individual support. And so I guess one of the reasons I'm here, in addition to just making sure we're all talking about how COVID is a survivable thing that we're going to get through, is to let you know that you can help Perseverance Theater right now. We're doing a Pivot and Perform campaign. We're going to raise $100,000 by the end of the calendar year. Many folks watching, probably most, have already given. And that's great. And thank you very much. And you'll be acknowledged. We'll get your acknowledgement letters out to you soon. But tell your friends this is an opportunity to support Perseverance. And I guess I've gone on too long, as I usually do.
Oh, no, that was perfect, Ben. Thank you. The support has been critical already. We're grateful for it, but it really has helped us keep going in these very difficult times. Because I know we've had to downsize our staff. We've had to, of course, we've moved everything virtual, which is fantastic. But that's because we are unable to meet in person and or have the budget to actually produce the way we normally would too.
Well, I was actually just at Costco this afternoon because you've got to go and get supplies from time to time. And someone I've known for 20 years came up and she actually asked about volunteering. And I explained that it would be a virtual volunteering thing she needed to do right now. But then I reminded her the best thing for her to do right now as a supporter was to make sure she enjoyed A Tlingit Christmas Carol and This Wonderful Life. So maybe, Leslie, you've been intimately involved in both of those as artistic director. Is there anything you want to share about those?
Absolutely. Thank you, Ben. Yes, A Tlingit Christmas Carol. We just dropped the third stave this last Friday, or chapter or episode, if you will. And it is this beautiful, really heartfelt, but also sometimes funny too. It's got a lot of humor to it. Adaptation of A Christmas Carol. So by Vera Starbard, our resident playwright. And it's wonderful because it just went Tlingit. And it's a great adaptation, y'all. So we drop an episode each Friday. So this Friday will be the fourth one of 5. The 5th one will drop on Christmas Day. And then we'll actually show all of them after that through January 7th, which is Russian Orthodox Christmas. So we're really excited. That's complimentary. We hope you might be inspired to donate. But also we wanted to bring a gift. Vera wanted to bring a gift to our community as well. And then we have This Wonderful Life, which is a one-person show, and this love of the movie, It's a Wonderful Life. It's all about that and the telling of that story through the eyes of one person. It's a one-person show. It moves along. It's got great heart as well, and it's got pathos. And what's beautiful is both of these talk about folks coming through difficult times. And so how timely, they're great Christmas or holiday offerings anyway, but they really do focus on the difficult times people are coming through and how community comes together. So we hope they inspire you during this holiday season to find joy and resilience as well.
I'm sure they will. And Lily, I just want to thank you. You've really been kind of the driver behind putting this evening's community conversation together, in addition to serving Perseverance in so many other great ways. So thank you for doing all this great work. And I know we're going to have more important work to do the rest of this month and into the new year.
Thank you, Ben. And thank you so much for being with us tonight. We really, really appreciate it.
Yeah,
well, I'm happy to be here. So yeah, of course, it's the Pivot and Perform campaign. We are pivoting. We obviously are performing. We've got performances coming up, as Leslie just mentioned. But I really think we can make this goal. And I think out of the active viewers right now, people are going to see archive snips of this. Most folks who are watching probably have contributed, but we've had such a great response, and there are so many people asking people to support things in their community right now. So we are as grateful as we could possibly be for the support that our supporters are giving us.
Yes, thank you. And I understand, Ben, we have some matching grants as well, potentially.
Thank you so much. The Benito and Francis C. Gagin Foundation have once again offered to match all pledges. between now and the end of the year for this campaign up to $12,500. So that effectively doubles your donation. So again, if you're someone watching who's already given, tell other people that, and we will be getting the word out through various media in the coming days so that people know.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yes, share, if you've already donated, please share out. Visit our website, ptalaska.org, and or our Perseverance Theater Facebook page to see these recordings of this evening and the A Tlingit Christmas Carol staves or episodes. And then, of course, visiting our website to be able to view This Wonderful Life. And it's on demand, so you can watch it at your convenience. Yeah.
But only until the 7th of January.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah. Yes. Beautiful. Well, thank you, Ben. Thanks for being with us tonight and taking the time. So appreciate all your efforts. One of the reasons we're still going is because of all of your efforts as well. You work very hard on our staff. We greatly appreciate it.
Hey, it's a team effort, and we're a wonderful team. And so everyone have a wonderful evening, and mahalo nui loa. And we will be back on the web very soon here with more content.
Great. Thank you, Ben. Gunashish. Mahalo. Yay. So back to you, Lily, for our next part of our wonderful program.
Absolutely. Well, Leslie, I am so excited to now welcome Jim Powell, a professor at UAS whose work, amongst other things, deals with resiliency and who has been instrumental and part of UAS's COVID research team. You and I, since we've started this project, hey, Jim.
Hi, Jim. Welcome.
Greetings.
We have been so honored to work with Jim and Jim's team throughout this project as we've been planning it, have been in conversation with you all about your work that you're doing. And we are so honored to have you all here to share a little bit about that. So I'll pass it over to you, Jim.
Thank you. And thanks so much for inviting us this evening. Listening to the speakers that just gave wonderful presentations, beautiful stories about Juneau and how it's really adapting to this crisis. And it's really, the stories are just beautiful. It's hard for me. I'm thinking now, how do I go to an academic presentation from such a beautiful stories? So I'll try to make this into as much of a story as I can. And it'll be a short presentation, and hopefully there might be some questions, and it needs to be pretty brief, but it's really nice to be here. And I have to say, as a researcher, we try to be as objective as we can, but living in Juneau, studying Juneau, I am very proud of the community and its ability to adapt in these times. And that's what we're finding too. That the community has really stepped up and done a great job, faced with this virus. So I'd like to first say that this wonderful opportunity to study Juneau came from funding from the National Science Foundation, and it's a year study. And what I'm going to go into tonight is very briefly 5 areas that we would like to highlight, some initial findings. We feel that we're in the 3rd inning of a 9-inning baseball game, if I can use that analogy. And so these are just initial findings. I'm going to talk a little about governance, communications, the Alaska Native response, economy, and healthcare. Next slide. And of course, it wasn't just me. It's a wonderful team that I've had the honor to be part of. We have Sean Topcock from UAF, Joe Little, who used to be at UAF. He's the economist. Bob Ortung from George Washington University, and medical doctor Hannah Axelrod and Peggy Wilcox. And all of them are actually on the line, and we're going to bring those into the room later so you can ask them questions that I may not be able to field, particularly the healthcare part. And it was really wonderful to hear from Dr. Worrell and also Dr. Urata, because you really laid some of the things that we found in our analysis and our findings so far. Next. So, as Dr. Worrell said, the community is adapting and really stepped up to the plate, and so has governance. We found that there has been early action as institutions. They're leading, and the leadership that they're showing has really been. I don't know if it's unique, but it's astounding that they took first steps even before the state stepped in, did mandates, and is leading the community forward. And there was something about the structure of our government, because our early fathers, our founding fathers of since the city was incorporated, the city was set up in owning the hospital, the airport, and the assets. And as far as leadership and being able to make quick, effective, efficient decisions, owning those assets has been really effective in dealing with making decisions about this virus and owning those assets itself. Next. So as you can see in this graph, Juneau's done quite well. The positivity rate, which really shows a ratio between those that have gotten COVID-19 and per 100,000, we've done well in comparison with other cities in Alaska. So we're doing quite well. And it shows the many actions that the city has done. Next. I'm going to go quite rapidly here. And the organizational structure, as I said, the city owns the hospital, the airport, and the hospitals in the harbors. And that has really helped in communications between City Hall, the Assembly, and those that run those enterprise, as we call them, enterprise boards. Next. Many really told us that this is a communications crisis, and we need not to just, it's not just a medical crisis, but it's a communications crisis. And so the city they stepped up and they added staff as far as getting the word out. They went from a half a position to 8 people overnight. They knew they had to communicate to the public, and they've done a fantastic job. The mayor has done daily reports. The city manager also does weekly reports, was talking to us daily to begin with, and has done a great job in communicating, I think. Next. Beth Weldon, our mayor, News of the North every day. It's quite an investment, and I think has really helped us understand and move forward with the virus. Next. And this is the weekly Tuesdays, evenings, afternoons, when the city manager and other staff go on to tell us how we're doing. Next. I think this was critical, and this has evolved over time. And now if you go online, you can find out information that's very useful. This has evolved over time into a very easily read informational dashboard for COVID-19. So if you're wondering how we're doing, this is actually from today. We have 3 cases, new cases. Masks, social distancing, gathering, everything. You can find that on the website. Very important. Communications, extremely important. Next. And the other thing we found was that the indigenous or native population and the city hall, this was a quote, "We operate in parallel universes," meaning that they're both fighting and responding and adapting, but the funding source is very different, and the populations were doing their own thing. Next. And I can't improve upon what David Kotzig said, and this is a quote from him, also was interviewed, and I think Dr. Worrell did a wonderful job of talking about Tlingit resiliency through the ages. Next. Economy. In 3 areas, we're very fortunate that we received $53 million from the federal government, and we were able to disperse that in different areas. Cruise ship revenues, 1.4 million visitors that didn't show up this year. That was a major hit, and employment was very much hit. Next. And the healthcare system, as Dr. Urata said, many of the things they had to change, many of the procedures. There's no rule book there. There was no procedures that they could follow. They came up with their own new procedures, had to rebuild physical, the facilities need to be adapted, and with the partners, search and long care health facilities. Next. And I think the communications between the state government, and I think she's kind of a hero in this state at least, Dr. Zink, I think that worked really well. It was a crisis communications, and that needed to be done because of the lack of maybe communications or confusion from the federal government. But the state government, I think, worked really hard to get the word out on what was happening, and we communicated with them. I heard that they were almost in daily communications. Next. And also early phase, later phase, and we're going to, as I said, we're only in the third inning of this, and we're learning as we go. And that's a principle of adaptation, adaptive governance, is that you can't wait to get all the data to make decisions. And that's what City Hall had to do, was to take those risks and lead and take risks. And fortunately, the decisions that they've made and the hospital has made, I think have been very effective so far. Next. So early thoughts, and this is one of my last slides. What appears to be working is our communication strategy, that investment that the city and others have made. And because we're a small town, and you guys talked about the community network that we have and supporting each other, that became evident in some of our interviews that we did. Transparency in government, and the leadership that has been shown, the risk that they've been taking and working together and delegating responsibility among the large units within our government and those facilities. The enterprise structure that we have set up, I think, had something to do. I think it was a positive thing about our government. And then testing. Next. And then today, and this is the silver lining, I think, a big one, is that the vaccine has arrived. And I understand there's almost 1,000 doses that are now in Juneau and being distributed. And some of those first ones, going from the report that I got online today, that they're going to the hospital themselves. So I think that's one of the big silver linings. Next. And if you have any questions or anything, please call me. Here's some of my information, contact. And also there's an attitudinal survey that's been put out by the Sitka Sound Center. And that's an address. You can take the survey, and I would hope that some of you would. We want to know how you're experiencing COVID-19. What are you doing? There's 52 questions on the survey, and we're getting some good responses, and we're trying to learn how our community is responding. Sorry it's so short, but we wanted to get the part of our story out to combine with the community story this evening. Gunashish. And we have some of the research faculty and research members of our team that are here too.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Jim, for that overview. Wow, powerful to learn. We welcome Sean and Hannah and Robert to the virtual space here.
Thank you for inviting us.
Yes, Gunashish for being with us. So just to start off, do you have any thoughts or reflections if you were able to follow along a bit with our community members that were before us on this program? Or anything you might like to add to the findings given what Jim has shared?
Yes, what did I leave out, guys?
Well, it is a bit out of my field, but perhaps the role of the arts and of storytelling in terms of what carries us through all this. I don't think we addressed that as researchers. What do you think, Jim?
I think you're exactly right. And that's what is kind of beautiful about this evening, is that we're making that crosswalk into the theater a bit, and we need to do more of that.
Right. One of the things Jim mentioned was the communication strategy of the CDJ, and I think that was important but also what was important was the people listening to the communications, and that they were all part of a community and sort of thinking along the same lines. And so I think that really made the communications effective. So wasn't only that what was being spoken by the authorities, but how people were receiving it and how they were working together to try and respond. So that community feeling is very important.
Juneau is a very, if something is bothering people in Juneau, it's people talk about it. And you don't hear on the streets, oh, what is City Hall doing about COVID-19? You don't hear a lot of grousing. You hear a lot of you don't hear a lot of that. I think that you're hearing that they're doing a good job. They're getting the information. And in fact, some of our surveys that we asked that question, are you getting information enough to make your decisions? And those responses to those surveys so far are very positive about local government doing its job in response to COVID-19. So it's hard for me. I mean, I used to work in local government on the assembly, and it's hard for me to be non-biased. And that's why these guys are important. They keep me more honest. You know, they're trying to find, we're trying to be critical. That's our job. But we've been finding some very positive things. What is interesting to me, and we're going to dig into this more as we go through, and we're only in this third inning, and we don't know. I mean, if you're playing baseball and you're saying we're only in the third inning, you're going to bet where that team is going to win or not. It's looking good right now in the third inning, but we don't know what's going to happen in the ninth. So I think there's a lot of things that have been put in place, and there's a lot of positive things, a lot of silver linings, I think, that were talked about. It was such a beautiful discussion earlier. You guys did a great job. I mean, bringing those people together, what a nice texture. Really nice texture.
Yeah, it was really nice, diverse. And it's good to see the youth that were represented there. Chris Talley did a wonderful. I enjoyed his song. Dr. Worrell, it was nice to see her again. I know that I was fortunate to interview King's today, David Katzik, during this process, and we had such a beautiful bond that I decided to gift him one of my rare books. I asked him, what do we, you've given so much, I want to give you something. And he just said, oh, give me something in your language. So I gave him a book that had Nipahak and also some stories that are in English as well. So I sent that to him. So it was beautiful to have that bond with him during that time.
Oh, I love it, Sean, the idea of gifts. I think for me, gifts have been a really important point of resilience and joy. I've sent more tea, being Japanese, more cultural exchange during this time over distances, mailing things out each week. So I appreciate you sharing that you had a gift that you gave. That's really beautiful.
I wonder, as a researcher, I'm curious anyway, living in Juneau, is why are we able to adapt? What makes us, want to adapt? Is it the isolation? We're pretty isolated in Juneau. Is it the physical environment? It's so beautiful. We're kind of artsy. We have highly educated people. We have 3 research institutes. Maybe it's a formal education. I'm not sure. I think it's all those combinations. But why are we so adaptive? What makes us so adaptive? Because I think we are doing pretty good. I don't have the answer. We have some indicators, but I don't have the answer.
Well, I'm curious, a question that we posed to the community storytellers we had is, what has surprised you about this moment in terms of what you've learned about yourself or about your community And I'm curious for you all, either in your work or in your personal lives, what, if anything, you all have discovered.
One thing I think is the need for connection. So I think, having conversations with people. We had numerous conversations and interviews over the course of the summer in Juneau, and then of course they all took place on Zoom. And I think that just people being willing to talk to us, which was very nice, and then people almost needing to have that human connection, even if it's only through the computer. I think that was interesting, and I definitely appreciated that. I definitely appreciated the willingness of, all sorts of people in the Juneau government and leaders in the community to just take an hour or two and explain what they were doing and why it was important. That was very helpful. And so it's nice that they could share. We're willing to share, and then hopefully we'll now turn it into some sort of useful results. But that's an ongoing process. So hopefully we'll see those results soon.
It'll be interesting. I don't know if I was surprised, but I was a little surprised. I think, to be honest, at the Tlingit Haida and the funding mechanisms, and then the city mechanisms, and that I think that's one area where there is a gap, quite frankly, and I think we can improve in that area, even though there's not. I don't think there's a barrier. It did pause when we asked that question, and not so much the medical search in the hospital. I think there was a lot of communication, but City Hall and Central Council, they in an organizational structure, they're combined, but I think that they were really focused on helping those two groups. And there was a real urgency to do that. I think maybe that was it. But anyway.
For me, coming from the outside, but having grown up kind of on the other side of the country in a smaller New England town, I felt this connection. I don't know, I might have imagined it, but I thought about the size of the city of Juneau, the size of the community, and the size of some of the communities in New England that I'm familiar with. And I could really feel and imagine a town and its enterprises and community coming together around this challenge in the way I would hope my hometown would. So even though this was a far distance apart and we couldn't actually visit for the purpose of these interviews, even in the time that the leaders of the hospital and medical enterprise shared with us, they really conveyed how much of a unified community effort what they did was, and how it was coordinated with other parts of what was happening in the city, what was happening in the community.
Sean, do you think it has?
I guess for me, I was fortunate to interview the indigenous community, and I wasn't surprised, but in the interviews and also through transcribing them and such, I saw the Southeast traditional tribal values in each one of those interviews. The patience, hold each other up, speak with care, live in peace and harmony. All of those things that were the cultural values that were just so embedded. And lastly, I think the more important message that I heard from every one of them was that it's the value of love, and to to love yourself, love your family members, and love your community, and love the nature around you as well. So I think it really resonated in the interviews that I when I talked with the indigenous community in Juneau.
I think there might be something about that, the values, the indigenous values, and also the, for lack of a better word, the Alaska spirit of independent, self-resilient, but in that there's a sharing component that's very strong still, because we need to share with each other, because we need each other. And I think that has something to do with adaptation and taking care of each other. That still exists, I think, in Alaska.
Mm-hmm. I feel like I observe being here in my first year and a half, even though I had been as an artist visiting over the last 10 years or so, and growing up in the Great Northwest out of Seattle, there is a definite relationship very close to the land, to Tlingitani or Klamath, where I'm from. You go with the weather. Dictates so much. Here it is snowing today all day long. It's 28 degrees, so it's piling up. There's going to be some need to grocery shop a little, because we know snow's coming. It's going to be here for a while now, or the roads will get plowed at some point. But until then, you adapt. Or the rain keeps coming. What will we do? Or just whatever that means. Or even when the cruise ships were not coming, I've got to experience. I think this was happening even before, for sure. Like you were saying, the sharing, but people were so keen on making sure if they had a catch, they shared the salmon or they shared their crab. Make sure people had food. It was really beautiful. I also sense, like you're saying, Sean, that's already there, established. How fortunate these times that's already established as part of the values. Wow, yeah. But the land dictates, Mother Earth dictates a lot to us. So I think we're used to, folks are if not, they are or working to be in right relationship with the land. And I think that helps you to learn to be patient and be adaptive. Yeah. I have a question based on something you mentioned in your presentation, Jim, and anyone, please feel free to answer. You mentioned we can't wait to have the data to make decisions. Oh my gosh. We've been trying to season plan, and gratefully we've come along off the offerings we have. But the difficulty in making a decision on some plans out forward when you don't have all the data or the data keeps changing. That has been one of the most challenging things, I think, about COVID. Yeah. Can you all speak to that, or any stories or information you gathered based on folks' experience around?
It's interesting. I'm kind of looking at Hannah going, what do you mean data? You got to wait for the data. But resilience theory and adaptation theory says that you can't, you do the best you can, but you can't, as a decision maker, you've got to make decisions. So what happened in the assembly is they did away with the committee structure, and they knew they had to make decisions right away. That's one of the findings, was they met every day, and almost every day, every night. And there wasn't it bothered many of them, because some of them were scientists and said, no, we need to get the data. We need to go through a process, a public process and everything. But no, they kind of threw the rule book out. And there's still, there's models in medicine, there's still methods in triage, but you need to, in adaptation, you need to make decisions. You can't wait for all the data all the time. You need to make decisions and then learn from that decision and then be iterative.
Well,
yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Jim, I think you just described the scientific process also, in that we, if there's been just one theme or hallmark of the COVID-19 response in the scientific world, is we've had to both create theories about how it works, how it's spread, whom it affects and why, and then edit them on a a weekly and a monthly basis in the time this virus first emerged. So kind of learning on the job has been what every physician, every healthcare leader, every scientist has been doing for the past year. And we've never seen innovation and the will to conduct trials and the will to trust in the scientific process come together so fast on such a scale. The fact that today the vaccine started being delivered to healthcare workers in Juneau, could you have imagined that in March or April? We're absolutely, I think wherever we are in the country of the world, if you work in medicine or medical science right now, it's such a great honor to be part of a worldwide effort.
Yeah, I was thinking in terms of the most difficult decisions were probably the ones made by the school administrators. That seemed to come out when in our interviews quite clearly, that deciding whether or not to have the kids come back to the classroom or continue learning at home through the virtual systems. I think we heard a lot of that in the earlier discussion, what the kids were going through and what the teachers and administrators were feeling as they thought about taking the responsibility to have them come back or have them stay home. Neither one's an easy decision. So I think when I think about the difficulties of a lot of the decision making in COVID times, I think it really fell on the teachers and the principals quite heavily.
Lily, have
I
you
guess
had?
from the.
Oh, please, Sean. Yes.
Sean.
No, I was just internalizing what everyone says, but I just recall what Dr. Worrell said about taking care of each other, whether they're in Juneau or some of the shareholders, or other people, family members, people worldwide, and sending gifts. I think the Tlingit and Haida, they stepped forward and created an emergency response team. See Alaska set aside money right away for all those frontline workers, and so even though it came upon us fairly quickly, they're ready for it and really responded quite well. And so I applaud them, and I just wanted to provide that perspective that from what I've seen.
That's beautiful. So they already had the mindset to be prepared like that. Like history has taught them. It's not the first pandemic. It's not the first. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Beautiful.
Well, thank you all so much for everything that you all are doing for our community and for all the great perspective you all have provided for us here this evening. We were so appreciative of your time and your perspectives. So thank you so much for being here with us.
Thanks, Lil. Thanks so much for inviting us and the East Coasters, Bob and Hannah. Special thanks to you for staying up late and joining us. I know must be super busy this time of semester and Hannah being at the hospital. So thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your work. And we look forward to staying in connection with you. Our conversations have been powerful and have really informed Lily and I around Perseverance Theater and the work and the voices we want to lift up, and as we build community to continue to strengthen our safety net. We've learned so much. How do we have a safety net going forward that really is community and the way we live too from day to day? So we can't thank you enough for those conversations that led to this moment, but we look forward to more too. I know this is not the end for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Sheesh. Thank you. Well, Lily, you and I, wow, thank you to our esteemed guest from UAS and, of course, our community members that joined us a little bit earlier in this program. Thank you so much. And we thank Irene Martinko, our stage manager, producer on this event. Lily, you were our program coordinator. Thank you so much. What a wonderful group of humans that you brought together so that our greater community could enjoy and learn tonight as well. We also thank the Juneau Arts and Humanities Council for that beautiful grant that really made this evening possible, and the city and borough of Juneau as well. So any thoughts you have, Lily, as we
And of course, thanks to you as well, Leslie, for being so instrumental in this event and in all of the wonderful offerings that Perseverance is continuing to put forth. So I was so moved by Chris's song. Perhaps that's a great way for us to leave, is to play that one more time.
I think it's perfect. I think that's perfect. Thank you. So with
Great.
that, we say thank you again for tuning in. We can't do without you. We've so appreciated your support throughout these difficult times. And I know as we go into this new year, there's a vaccine as well. And we're so hopeful and that we see a light at the end of this tunnel. And I know we'll take our learnings forward. So thank you again to all of our guests for sharing their learnings, their life experience through this time. But we also say, as Jim and Dr. Urata has mentioned to us, we must stay vigilant. Please keep wearing your masks, keep that social distance. We know it's difficult not to be in direct contact with our friends and family and our community members, but hang on, there's hope. Not too much longer, so please stay vigilant. Apparently, we have a really great record going, but we also recognize those we have lost and who are currently ill. So we just send our best love and energies of resilience, our chi, share our chi with them to support their wellness and all of our sustained wellness. So I see there we have thank yous. Thank you, Glow. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Beth. Yes. Oh, I appreciate you that you enjoyed the presentation. Oh, and thank you. See Perseverance as a treasure. And we see you as an absolute treasure. This community is a treasure. So, Lily, we did it. And I look forward to more. Yes.
Absolutely. Well, we hope everyone has a wonderful rest of your evening, and we'll let Chris and his message have the final word. Thank you all.
Yes. Sabu Kiswas. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas.
Yo, what's good? It's your boy Chris Talley, also known as Radiophonic Oddity or RPO. And yo, I just wanted to say happy holidays to everybody, no matter what holiday you're celebrating. Make sure to spread love and give cheer this year, because we really need it. So I hope you enjoy this song called Clinking Sky. Alright.
Chilling in the clinking sky, watching aurora lights. It's a holiday time. Ready for the snowball fights. You know we are gonna have a good night. Yeah. The wind blows so cold, I'ma pass some snow cones, chilled bones, cocoa, heated up by I roll. Wind be so crisp, stockings and I got gifts. Mr. Father Christmas in my on your nice list. It's time for a holiday. Can we celebrate? Candy canes, happy days by the fireplace. Merry Christmas, happy Kwanzaa too. And if you ain't with the season, just leave, Mr. Scrooge. Let's go sledding, snowfall is heavy. I'm mistletoe kiss, only if you let me. Santa is coming, man, I caught him today. We vibing, we're riding in his open sleigh. The Taku winds just blow so hard. Someone better send me a Christmas card. Happy holidays, spread love and trust. We under clinking sky, so see you in the clinking sky. Watching aurora lights, it's a holiday time. Ready for the snowball fights. You know we are gonna have a good night. Yeah. Hide inside, so I stay real dry. Finding ways to make time go by. Promise there's no evil eyes. I don't mind who who's by my side instead of na na na, singing fa la la. And yo, I can't forget about Hanukkah, night shining bright. And yo, I feel alright. I got my decorations and Christmas lights. My fam by my side, nothing more can compare. And the friends that I have aren't aware that they're rare. And I care that you got me, I got you too. Even if we don't talk, I also care about you. Cause love's a gift, so please keep giving. Life is hard, so please keep living. Happy holidays, spread love and trust. We under the clinking sky, so sit chillin' in the clinking sky. Watching aurora lights, it's a holiday time. Ready for the snowball fight.